take you up to your neck in water. He'll take
Yeah.
you up to the neck, but then he'll be done. Then he'll make everything okay to a point, whatever he needs. But they were great talks. I don't know if you listened to that talk.
Jeff was commenting on it.
Yeah, I missed the early part of it. I can't remember what there was something. So I got the second talk, but not the first one.
Hmm.
Gulnar.
Well, you can go back and there's a link in the chat. You can go to the Circle page,
Yeah.
YouTube page, and listen to the first half because it's so good.
Yeah.
I remember when they were young women. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's amazing. In the early years, the Mandali used to say, Baba, bring the waters up to here, but not above that. I mean, that was a common gesture among the Mandali. But then after a while, they stopped doing that. I don't think they wanted us. I don't think they
Right
wanted
that
us to
close.
worry so much about what might happen. They wanted us to kind of enjoy the honeymoon as long as it lasted.
They wanted to retire maybe and relax a little bit.
Yeah. So what's on the agenda tonight, Jeff?
I don't
Any
know.
good stories?
Huh?
Any good stories? Got another song?
Let's see if I can.
Putting him on the spot.
Were you able to hear me? I couldn't tell.
When?
When we sang, was the sound okay?
That was beautiful.
Heard
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I mean,
I
it's hard to
loved it.
tell.
I loved it.
Um,
Hmm.
oh yeah, You wanted to tell you something that I might bring up on Sunday, but recently we read in Effort and Grace where Baba talked about that Sahaj Dhyan, that that effortless meditation where you remember Baba, you dress your soul with Baba when you first wake up at 12, at
Yeah, yeah.
5, and before you go to bed. what what I didn't mention and what Darwin used to talk about and what we found is that, like, suppose you're starting to come up close to 12 and you think, oh, it's only 11:15. Well, why don't I just dress my soul with Baba now, in case I forget at 12. And then you say, oh God, I wonder what time it is. Oh, it's 11:53. Well, you know, I'll just do it now. Or you miss 12 o'clock and it's 1:15. Well, hey, then do it at 12. And it's a very tricky way that Baba actually eventually fills up your whole day with
Dressing yourself.
stringing beads of these little moments of dressing your soul with Baba. Because, you have oh, like, what if I forget about 5 o'clock? I'm going to be going I got to do some work. So it's 3:30. I'll dress my soul with Baba now. So in that way, you string your whole day with these little moments of dressing your soul with Baba until it becomes a steady thing. So
Well, you
that's
just
how.
have to go on YouTube and listen to Papa talks all day. It's so cute when I went to India the first time, Nanakare gives me a little piece of paper and he just gives me certain times to think of Baba. But
Uh-huh.
then okay, who was on the hill? Come on. What's her name? Mansari. She gave me different times, which were more reasonable for Westerners. She's like, wake up at 5 a.m. and think of Baba. She's like, 7 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
A little piece of paper. It's so cute. I was like, huh, that's funny. But she also gave me permission to shop. It's very, very, very practical to go to the bazaar in Naga, much cheaper than Chicago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They were able to adapt, they, you know, to our Western ways. I mean, to the point where, I once said to Erich, you were like standing like next to Baba and everything. What did you feel? What did it feel like to be standing next to Baba? You know, some people would come and they'd be overpowered by Baba's presence. What was it like for you? And Eric says, "You mean did I feel the vibes?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." But he said, "I felt nothing."
Oh no.
You mean he felt just like an ordinary person? And Eric said, "Yes."
Do you think that I would imagine that because Erich had to do the
Yeah,
work that
yeah,
he did,
yeah.
he had to keep
If he,
his divinity in that fragrance and that intoxication. He couldn't intoxicate Erich all the time because Erich perhaps how could if you're sitting around intoxicated all the time, how can you get any work done?
yeah, no,
Do you
I
know
mean,
what I mean?
yeah, no, that's what he said. Really, I mean, on another occasion, he said, you know, if he had to actually fight becoming like a must. In other words, Danny Ladinsky once said to Erich, you know, I can see you're making incredible efforts to to appear normal. And I'm paraphrasing, but Erich said, I use my incredible strength to appear normal. Otherwise, if I didn't, I would be on the ground in the dust, rolling in ecstasy.
Mm.
Mm.
So everything that the seekers are seeking, bliss, he's avoiding like a plague, uh, because he wouldn't have been able to do the work. You know, he would have been too intoxicated to do the work that Bob was asking. Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow. Betty, you're muted. We can't hear you, dear.
Who's that?
Saying
Oh,
good night.
Betty's talking, but she's muted.
I'm just saying good night anyway. I'm gonna see you
oh,
guys tomorrow. Jay Baba, thank you so
yeah.
much.
Put Baba on as a, a leather jacket.
Ah, okay.
Uh,
Way to go. Okay.
nice down jacket, you know.
Thank you all. Jay
Yeah.
Baba.
See
Okay.
you, Betty. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jim.
Hi,
Jai Baba Jeff.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai
Hi.
Baba Jim.
We got Ganesh here, and let's see. Yeah. Anybody have any burning thoughts or kind of experiences to share, or anything that you read of Baba's? Well, we can always we can always get a Hafiz from Thursday. Or
You're
uh-oh.
muted. Thursday, you're muted.
Sorry, honey. I'm translating a really interesting one. You know, Hafiz is really down on the Sufis, man. So let me work on that, and as your discussion winds, I think I'll finish it and read it out.
Yeah. You mean he was down on the Sufis or
Well, you know, on the
on the
in
phony Sufis?
at the time, you know, he left the Sufi. He left the Sufi path,
Yeah.
and because he saw corruption in it.
Yeah.
And dishonesty and so forth. So and this particular poem, Ghazal, among many others, quite a few others, have been eliminated from the divan because it's just too. You'll see, you know, he's bashing Islam, he's bashing Sufis, he's bashing hypocrisy in religion.
Yeah.
So you'll see.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'm listening and translating.
I think
Here's
somebody
one
said,
thing.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody was reading something this morning at Arti, and they talked about Baba saying about hypocrisy and how hypocrisy, God can't forgive
Yeah.
hypocrisy. It won't go through. Maybe you can ruminate on that because you were, Farishay just mentioned hypocrisy in religion.
This is what Baba said about that. God cannot forgive hypocrisy, but the avatar can. And that's we're saved because of that.
That part I had never heard.
Yeah.
I'd heard
God,
Baba say,
God
or I've
can,
read Baba say, God can forgive anything except hypocrisy.
yeah,
But I didn't get the avatar part.
but the avatar can forgive hypocrisy.
That's great because
We are.
otherwise they're in trouble.
Yes, I mean, we are in a
I
way
think
where
we're all in trouble.
we're all basically hypocrites in the sense that we're appearing as what we're not. We're really God, and we're acting like we're, you know, I mean, Ganesh.
I mean, really, with a name like that,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
try
mean, like,
and impersonate some of the Hindu gods and things like that. We know, but no,
It's the great destroyer.
no. Here's an interesting thing. You might find this interesting. One time, Erich took, some of us Westerners and Easterners on a trip to Happy Valley, which is, maybe an hour or less from Merazad. It's a place where Ram and Sita had come during his exile. It was one of the places they stopped. He supposedly had shot an arrow in, there was no water, and he shot an arrow into the rock, and water came out. But so we were there, and he got on to talking about Prophet Muhammad, and he said that what became known as the Muslim faith was was a perversion at Muhammad's death. I mean, he used the word perversion. It was a perversion right from Muhammad's death. And what happened is some of the companions went on to form the new religion. They were drawn to the organized thing. And a lot of the companions were like disappeared into the city. So those who were interested in joining the new religion went one way, and those who were interested in finding out what it was like to be with Muhammad and hear the stories, they found these Muhammad's companions in the city, and little groups formed around them, and so those groups that formed around the companions of they continued that they continued the Sufi tradition. Sufism actually predated Islam, but they continued the what you can say the not the transmission, the lineage of Sufism. So at one point there's a religion being formed, and then there's this kind of underground sort of a lineage that's going on. Eventually got to Hafiz and Rumi and all of them.
Yep. That
So
is very true. I mean, that happened in Christianity as well. The Essenes, those who just kind of were into the mystical aspects, they went underground. They knew a lot of secrets. They knew a lot of things that got buried and covered up and changed in Christianity.
yeah.
That's why we have Jeff here to tell us all the untold and unwritten stories.
So,
Jeff, you should tell us something that's unwritten, something.
And this is another thing. I mean, I've mentioned this before, but some of you may not have heard. But there's a guy named Dick Anthony who had written a book called Spiritual Choices back in the early 70s. which was about the formation of cults and religions and everything. And he did it along with a couple of other people. But he asked Erich, is Baba going to become a religion? And Erich said, this time Bob was adamant that it not become a religion. And he said, how could this be kept from happening? And Erich said, if his lovers would get together in small groups and share their mystical experiences, it could be averted.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like those companions that gathered around the companions of Muhammad, that people gathered around. Now this was I think in 71. I think Erich would have said share their inner experiences with Baba. Rather, I've never heard him really use mystical, referring to Baba, to us, his lovers. But by sharing your inner experiences, you can't make a religion out of it, because everybody's too different.
Well, isn't that the meaning of the word mysticism? Mystic is the inner experience that really cannot be proven, cannot be, scientifically studied in a laboratory, but it's an inner experience that can only be shared and believed, because
Yeah.
it's so unique and personal.
Yeah. Yep. It's so unique and personal that you can't make a doctrine out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's something you might find interesting. Rumi made the distinction between spirituality and mysticism, and he gives this figure, or this metaphor, an allegory. A guy becomes very obsessed with this mountain lion. This mountain lion is supposed to be something to behold, and so he sets out to find this in this mountainous area, and he studies any kind of tracks. He talks to people who've been in the area, might have sighted it, and he spent months and months go by. He's getting closer and closer to finding this, and he becomes convinced that it's on this one peak after like months of pursuing this. And he climbs up one of the lower peaks, and while he's there, up on a higher peak, he sees the mountain lion caught by the fading sunlight. He is transfixed. He's just there, mesmerized by the scene. But then the mountain lion looks down at him and charges down the mountain after him. That's when spirituality ends and mysticism begins. And he said that in spirituality, you're making improvements. You're getting closer and closer. In mysticism, it's about being destroyed, about being effaced.
Yeah. Destroyed is good, because that is the purpose. Annihilation.
Yeah, it's by being effaced, not by self-improvement, even spiritual self-improvement. That ends.
I personally find it very difficult to share stories without feeling in the back of my mind that I'm proselytizing.
You mean proselytizing with us?
No, with someone that doesn't know about Baba.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think it's better.
Yeah.
Or if I talk about Baba to one of my friends who aren't Baba lovers, but then I'm like relating my life to, it's kind of,
They don't want to hear it.
no.
That might be the end of your friendship, or it might. See, it depends. You see, if you're talking about Baba and it creates a distance, then you haven't really told them about Baba. because Baba is love. You know what I mean? Someone someone came to me, this is, a few years ago, and she she and her husband, and she said that she was wondering if she should tell her mother about Baba. Now, she'd been a Baba lover for about 30 years, never told her mom. And her mom is 84. Not only that, she's been to India a few times, and never even told her mom. Her mom's a Catholic, a serious Catholic. And she's wondering if she should come clean and be honest and tell her mom where she's really at. Not only that, she had married a Jewish guy, you know. Her mom didn't even know that Sheldon was Jewish. And so she's kind of thinking, oh my God, I've been so dishonest. But, and so she asked me, and my feeling was, is this going to bring you closer to your mom saying this? Is it going to create she's 84. Is this going to create a distance? Is this going to upset her or disturb her? Is it worth telling her about Baba and your whole life with Baba? Because see, her mom's going to listen to it, and she's not hearing Baba. She's hearing her idea of what this weird thing is that her daughter's into. You know what I mean? She's translating it into there's something strange with her daughter. So I said, will it bring you and your mother closer? And I don't think she told her mom. It was just one thing too much, probably for her mom to digest.
I gave my mom a picture of Mira and Baba when they were young together, and I put it in her apartment. And she just knew there was Baba, but she didn't ask me too much about it. But my cousin came in my house the other day, and I have Baba pictures all over, and she didn't say a word about it. And then a workman came in and said, "Who's that man over there all over your house?" So it's just, it's like, I said, "Well, he's the avatar of the age." I'm like, okay. It's like that.
Yeah, you got the name.
But I'm not going to hide him, he's here.
This was an amazing thing. Now, the reason that I said that to this woman and her husband is that I was in India one time when Dr. Donkin's family came to get some of his effects. This was, I think he died in about 71 or something like that, but they sometimes gone by, and they came over to get some of the things that belonged to Dr. Donkin. These people arrived at the trust. They had no idea about Dr. Donkin's life with Baba. They thought he was just being a doctor over in India all these years. He didn't even tell them he was one of the intimate disciples of Baba. Didn't even tell them. So there is no obligation. I mean, just imagine that.
I wonder what the reaction was.
What's that?
I said, I wonder what the reaction was when they went to get his things and found out.
I know Mani and Erich were there, and I'm sure they were just, they wouldn't push anything like that. They just received them, and they were very loving and all that. But I thought it was hilarious that one of the intimate disciples of Baba didn't even bother to tell his family what he was up to
and
all those years in India.
Well, it was probably would have been really frowned upon by British society where he's from.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first met Marvin, I think I went home and my mother had passed away, and I had a Baba card next to my bed, and my dad was in the room or something, and he saw this card, and he says, "Oh my God, that could be a cult." And I'm thinking, you belong to the largest cult on the planet, the Catholic Church. I've been to Rome. I saw the jewels. I get what's going on there. That blew my mind when I was in the Vatican and I was downstairs in the vaults and these huge crosses. There was emerald one, there was a sapphire one, there was a diamond one, and they all had matching crosses and matching every. It was insane, the jewels. I thought, where's God?
Yeah. No, it's
That's just
Okay,
the
fine.
thing. And so my family's Catholic, and I married a Jewish guy.
oh yeah. Yeah, no.
Who was a Bible lover. Oh my.
Yeah, no, Baba really mixed the ethnic and religious groups, you know, and then you've got like, you know, David Finster and Sheila, and I mean, there's a lot of intermarriage, you might say. And Baba said that the intermarriage of the races is good for humanity. Baba himself said that.
Well, of
Baba
course.
Wow.
It makes sense. It would be good for humanity. We would
Yeah.
start accepting each other as
Yeah.
one human family.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Resume the recording.
So go away, O preacher, and don't invite me toward paradise. For God from the beginning of creation cast my destiny onto heaven. One cannot pick a single grain from the harvest of existence unless one sows a seed on the path of truth in the land of annihilation.
Wow.
Or ruination, whichever you prefer. You, the prayer beads, the mosque, and the path of renunciation and abstinence. Me, the tavern, the bell, the path to the Zoroastrian fire temple, and the synagogue. Do not ban me from drinking wine, O pure Sufi, for the divine sage, from the beginning of time, molded my character to pure wine. O pure Sufi, there is no heaven, because like me, many Sufi robes are mortgaged for pure wine in the taverns. Enjoyment of heavenly angels and sitting by the poolside is not possible for one who has let go of the daman of their beloved. Hafez, if divine grace has extended a hand toward you, then let go of the fear of hell and the delight of heaven. Now that is pure blasphemy to a Muslim.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. I mean, the Quran is going on and on about heaven and hell and, you know, and all the nonsense they put in there.
Yeah.
Twisting Muhammad's words, I'm sure.
Can you read it again?
Oh, you started recording.
Ah,
We must delete those.
Who's doing the recording? Is that you?
Well, yeah, he has.
Yes.
No,
Yes, Jack.
you know how he heard how he got his name, right?
Well, I seem to forget. I'd like to hear it from you.
Yeah, right.
what does Padre
Anyway.
mean?
Okay.
Padre,
There-
See what I mean? Not everybody knows.
There is a word. Padre would let these explosive farts so loud that it was like a rifle shot, and it scared the heck out of Jal, Baba's brother. And so Baba called him this name, which was Padre. I don't know what the word is, but it means big fart. And that was his name for a long time, but then it somehow got reduced to padre. Now we all thought, like padre, like a priest, like a Catholic priest.
Very distinguished.
Yeah. So we
Right.
never, we didn't know the association that Baba would call him that. But do you know, Ganesh, do you know what the word is? I don't know if it's Gujarati or Marathi or what.
I
It's,
know
it's,
what it is.
it's
What?
Marathi. Marathi.
Marathi.
No, even in our
Yeah,
Parsi,
I know what it
Irani,
is.
even in our Parsi, Irani, Gujarati,
Yeah.
when you say to
Padri.
use the Indian, to use it colloquially, we say pad marich, means you've farted. So
Yeah.
pad means farting. So, I guess so padri would mean a farter.
No, Padri is actually a priest.
What's that?
Namita had something to say too.
We're like third graders laughing.
So that was, that was his name.
Actually, Padri in Marathi means priest.
Yeah. No, but see, it morphed into padre, which is a priest. And of course he had this kind of tall, angular form, like almost like an El Greco painting, And so we just, thought that was, yeah, he's kind of a padre. I mean, he's kind of like a, but he never told us the real thing. I think it was Erich or Bao that told us the real origin of his name. But Baba, it's kind of neat because Baba gave people nicknames. It's some cultures, like the black cultures, they have nicknames more than a lot of other cultures. But it's kind of neat that the Avatar would, give nicknames. Like there was one guy in the early
Bar soap.
Mandalay, huh?
Bar soap.
Yeah, I was
There
going to say that
Yeah.
there was they were invited to a kind of a swanky dinner party, and on the near the plate was this little bar of well, this guy, I can't remember his name, but one of the Mandalay thought it was cheese, a little a little uh, a little block of cheese, and he in in the meal he kind of picked it up and started chewing it and spat it out, and he was forever after that was called bar soap.
Yes.
And Pendu, Pendu's habit, he got the name in a Happy Valley actually, but when he was standing there, some of them would sit around Baba when he was talking, and Pendu was being tall, he would be at the back, and he used to swing back and forth,
Pendulum.
and so his name originally was Pendulum, and then it got reduced to Pendu.
And then there is this
Guy's
Mani,
name is
Manu, and Mansari.
What's that?
Mani, Manu, and Mansari. The three nicknames.
Yeah.
Actually, because both three of their names was Mani. So
Yeah, there were three Manis. Mani, Manpur, there was one called Manpur, Mansari, because she was from Navsari. So Baba called her Mansari.
So
But
Jeff,
again,
bar soap was Abdul, who was Dr. Abdul Ghani Munsif's brother-in-law. His name was Abdul Rahman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. Let's see, was any of those other names? Huh.
Well, Aloba too was.
Alaba. Alaba was given that name because when they were traveling in the New Life, they came into an area where there was a lot of hostility toward Muslims. So he was Ali Akbar Shapur Zaman was his real name, but during that period when they were traveling through this area of India, Baba changed his name to Alaba, and Dr. Ghani's name to Ganoba, I think,
yes,
so that
Canova.
they wouldn't be detected. They wouldn't be discriminated against.
So can you tell us something about the time you spent with Padri? Because there's so much little written about him. So
There's not, you mean there's not much written about him, right?
not much about him. Like
No.
there are a few things, yeah, people say, and like he was a pillar of Mehrabad and all that.
Yeah.
But not as aggressive as some of the other money.
Yeah. We should have Peter Nordine here, but Padri was actually the first cousin of Mera. In other words, Mera's mother, Dalit Mai, and Padri's mother, Franey, I think it was Franey, they were sisters. And now they came from a family. Now, only Padri and his mother from her family became devoted to Baba. And they were really kind of the black sheep. But they came and they were devoted to Baba. And so, in fact, some years ago, two ladies showed up at the center here. They were very elegant women, very mature ladies. But what happened is that they had grown up in Louisiana, and their father had recently passed on, and somehow they didn't really know about Padri, but they got a video from the center of Padri, and Padri had a very characteristic way of talking, you know. Say, you eat everything on your plate. Don't leave a scrap. You know, I mean, he had this kind of a very, well, when these ladies heard this video of Padri, they just howled with laughter because nobody had ever talked like their father anywhere and until they heard of Padri. But they didn't really know about Padri or anything about him because Mara's brother, who was Colonel Arani, he used to go and visit them in Louisiana. And they kept the Padri's affiliation with Baba hidden. But these ladies showed up at the center, and they're actually the nieces of Padri. So I showed them around on the golf cart. And they were actually related to Meru, too. They would have been related to Meru. And they had followed Ananda Marg path. I don't know that much about it, but they were very, very striking, very mature women. But anyway, going back to Padri, I'll give you, Bao used to say there are three types of persons. I don't know if he got it from Baba, but there were three types of persons. One was a peach, soft on the outside, but a pit in the middle. Then there's another type of personality. It's a nut, hard on the outside, shell on the outside, but soft in the middle. And then a grape, which is soft on the outside and soft in the middle. So Padri was one that was hard on the outside and soft in the middle. Erich and Mani were kind of soft on the outside and soft on the inside, at least for us. So anyway, this one guy arrives in Mehrabad. He's traveled overland, through Afghanistan and Iran and everything, and he arrives, he's disheveled, his clothes are kind of filthy and everything. He arrives at Lower Mehrabad and says, where's the tomb of the Avatar? And a fellow named Tom Forson says, well, it's just right up the hill. You go up past the railroad tracks and it's up there. So he kind of takes off, but then Tom says, well, I'll accompany you up. So they start up the hill. They get about halfway up, and Padri is coming down, and he's a striking figure, Padri. And he's on his way down, and when they get within about 20 feet of each other, Padre looks at this guy and says, "Is this the way you dress when you come to the tomb of the Avatar?" The guy looks at him and says to Padre, "I don't let anybody tell me how I look when I come to the tomb of the Avatar." Padre looks over at Tom Fritz and says, "I like this guy." So hard on the outside, but soft in the middle. He bowed before the truth that this guy had said, even though he was disheveled and his clothes were filthy. He uttered the truth, and Padre was able to drop his hard exterior.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
I found, as I was looking for bar soap, who he was, I found this adorable little letter that Baba wrote to, let's see, to somebody and Ramju, dear doctor. So it had to be Dr. Ghani. Do you guys want to see it and read it? Can we read it together?
Yeah, or read it out. Yeah.
It's really sweet, but it's also awesome to see Baba's handwriting.
Oh, okay. It's in Baba's. Oh.
So he says, "Dear doctor, this is 11th January 1925.
Yeah.
25 years.
Received you and Ramju's letter. I intend coming to Pune in a few days, and there will enjoy Abdul Rahman's soap." And this is Baba's humor because, he thought soap was cheese.
Soap or songs? Songs, I get. Will enjoy Abdul Rahman's songs.
Soap.
Okay. It looks
I did not like to give you the unnecessary trouble of coming here with him. Since the last 9 days, I'm again sustaining on pure water. Although a bit weak, I'm healthy and energetic, thank God. You may be sure that even the continual
severest
of fasting is no kamal in the spiritual point of view. Kamal means perfection, but only the outcome of strong will and staunch habit. Never credit a saint from the standpoint of austerities. Fasting does not mean perfection. Truth is something else. Fasting, even if be for years and most severe, does not work out calm and come. What?
root out, no? Does not root out.
Does not root out. Calm and kamche. What is this one?
Calm and conviction. That is lust and greed. Lust and greed.
But truth does, and truth overwhelms one. Only when the time comes, please let Ramju read this letter. Tata Merwan. How adorable.
How lovely.
Fantastic.
So lovely.
Beautiful.
Tata Merwan.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I just died finding that letter.
Oh, I've got something for you folks. But yeah, go ahead, and I'll try to get I'll get it for you.
Hendrik says hello.
Here.
Hi. Oh, he's lovely.
He's a big cat, and when he sits on me, literally, I cannot move. He probably weighs 20 pounds.
There's Lucy sleeping. Wake up, Lucy.
Oh, look at this.
Marsha, your doggy's so cute.
He's been sleeping here.
Right.
I don't know where my doggy is. He's on the porch.
He tries to get as close to me as possible, like on my chest.
Mm.
Like, what am I supposed to do with you?
He looks pretty healthy.
He's very hefty. Oh my God, you're heavy. Can I put you down?
I'm gonna go get an ice cream bar.
Mad when I put it down.
So you guys,
Yes.
Armin, what did you
let,
do?
let me read something to you.
You're not doing what I wanted you to do. I'm not separating the ears. I was taking out the bad ones. Ah, jeez.
Okay. Are you guys there?
We're all here.
I'm taking you to the kitchen. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So this is from Dan Ladinsky. It says, I guess it was in the late 70s, Kitty Davy is sitting in Mondley Hall in a chair and looking and acting very quiet as Erich tells stories. Then Kitty leaves to go sit with Mara when Mara comes out on her porch. After a few minutes of Kitty being gone, a young woman who is in the hall, in Mondley Hall with Erich, and just can't leave Erich, it seems to me, who seems to know Kitty. She says to Erich, oh wow, what do you and Kitty talk about in private? She's asking Erich, what do you and Kitty talk about in private? And Erich says, this is in Mondley Hall, he says this, our truest interactions are just gazing into each other's eyes, with our eyes in wonder, saying how outstandingly, profoundly fortunate we were to have touched God, or even to have seen one of his movements, or even to now behold a photo, or, or be able to speak his precious name.
Wow.
I'll read that, just again.
Can you read all of it? Like all
Yeah.
of it?
Okay. So I guess this was in the late 70s. Kitty Davy is seated in Mondley Hall in a chair and looking and acting very quiet as Erich tells stories. Then Kitty leaves to go sit with Mara when Mara comes out on her porch. And after a few minutes of Kitty being gone, a young woman who is in the hall and just can't leave Erich, it seems to me, and who seems to know Kitty, says to Erich, what do you and Kitty talk about in private? And Erich says, our truest interactions are just gazing into each other's eyes, with our eyes in wonder, saying, how astoundingly, profoundly fortunate we were to have touched God, or even to have seen one of his movements, or even to now behold a photo, or be able to speak his precious name.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
You know, that kind of tenderness um, toward each other and toward Baba, they did not display to the pilgrims.
That, well, no, that, I saw a lot of instances of that too. If you're, they were, Baba was everything to them.
Yes, but I'm talking about something like this. They would not have said that in to a group of pilgrims. It's just really precious to hear, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Just
I know.
touching that tenderest sentiment.
Yeah. Just even to have touched God himself. They're just in awe that this happened to them, you know, to just see him move, to be in the same room with him. Yeah, it's, it's nothing they could really take for granted.
It's uncanny how human Baba was at the same time of being divine. You know, he perfected that art.
Yeah. If Baba I know Merwan, I don't know if you read his book, but he found Baba's ignorance something to behold. That someone who knows all, not just acting ignorant, but actually is ignorant. They marveled at this phenomenon. So that if you came to see him, he'd say, "How did you come here?" Oh, like with Robert Dreyfus, and they took out a map, and uh, Robert showed how the route that he took across the Middle East and everything, and Bob was right there with the map, as if he's seeing it for the first time.
Do you think, Jeff, he was able to set aside his divinity for the sake of us, for the sake of showing our absolute honest humanity?
Well, in the new life, he put aside his divinity and played the role, lived the role of a real seeker and lover of God, with without drawing upon any of his divine attributes. And he
Divine attributes or divine consciousness?
well, I mean, he didn't use his infinite power. He didn't use his infinite knowledge. He played the role. He played our role as a human being, and made his way all the way up to Manonash and the experience of divinity. And he blazed a trail, you might say, through illusion to that experience, so that we can follow this path through the heavy, dense forest of creation. He blazed a trail through there, which we can take. And it's not even a religious path. It is a path for all of humanity. And
Sooner or later.
yeah, that path has been blazed through from the gross world to the divine for our benefit.
You mean there's no eternal hell and damnation?
Well, for a few people, ex-Chicago people and in Chicago, no. I know.
There's
Yeah,
a few of us here, aren't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. You guys are kind of.
They're following me.
You can go all the way back to stone if you misuse your power. Would that be like eternal damnation?
Yeah, well, that's not eternal. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
So it could be interpreted as eternal.
Well,
But if you're stone, are you unconscious of what happened?
I don't know, but Bal Natu and I talked about this, and we agreed that when Baba would say, this dog is going to be reborn on the third plane when it comes back. We felt that these souls that went down to the stone form all the way back, Baba helps them leap over all sorts of the evolution and move quickly back the next time around. So, these dogs and special attention that Baba gave to certain animals, and he would say that they were jumping over whole evolutionary stages to human stages. We kind of felt those are people that are coming back again, and he makes it easier for them.
Isn't there a story about a disciple going to a garden and seeing a worm, and he looks at the worm and the worm dies.
Oh, that's Buddha.
Yeah.
It's Buddha. And then he sees the parrot, and the parrot dies. And then he is going to be sent to see bless the baby, the emperor's son. And he does not want to look at this baby because he's afraid that if he looks at the baby's going to die. And he hears the voice. You finish the story.
He hears the voice of the child in his mind, and the child says, "Please look at me. When I was a worm, you looked at me, and I became a parrot. When I was a parrot, you looked at me, and I became the emperor's son. Please look at me again, so that I can leave this world and join God."
Yeah.
Wow.
And the book, I think it's from the Is That So book, and this is about a story of one of
Yeah.
the Krishna's disciples, and
Yeah.
he spends years with Krishna, Lord Krishna, and as Krishna Avatar, and then he feels that what have I gained by being with him, and he has this doubt that goes on in his mind, like what did I gain by being with the Avatar for so long and
Yeah.
all that. And then he asks Krishna, then Krishna says to him, go to so and so place at certain time, and there you will find it. And then he goes somewhere to the forest, and he stands, and all that he finds is a worm. And when he looks at the worm, it dies. And that's when he says, "Oh God, what does that mean?" And then in the end, when the little baby answers that, "Okay, give me a glance, so that from worm I came up to a human, and with your one glance I even can get realized. I can even get liberation." So that's the power of a disciple of an avatar.
Yeah.
Yasmin writes Narayan.
Narad, I guess.
It was an Nandu or something like that? Or?
Narayan.
Yes,
Yeah, Narayan. But so that's from Erich's Green Book, right? The one.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, it's like it conveys like what being with the avatar, what is the power of Mandali.
Yeah.
By the way, Ganesh, you might
But
be
you were
right.
saying
As Raman was Gani's brother who sang in the style of music Baba liked at that time. So that word is probably songs and not soap.
I thought it looked like songs as well.
Okay, well, I thought it was funny if Baba would have said soap.
But I mean, you know, when I think about with the Mandalay, they got to be with God, but some of us got to be with the Mandalay. And I know you spent a lot of time with the Mandalay, Jeff. And I was blessed to meet Mani and Erich, and we spent a fair amount of time with Bauji coming to Chicago. And I think, my goodness,
Meru.
how lucky, and Meru, yes, and how lucky we are. How fortunate.
Well, and
I'm blessed.
I'm convinced that we were with Baba in the 1920s, 1930s, or 1940s, 1950s. We've been with him. We were just with him, and here we are back.
Well, I could have been with him in the 50s, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think Ferris Day too. We're both younger.
You mentioned.
I know I was there. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, Aaron, when we took him to Mehrabad in 2011, he knew that place.
Yeah.
Merzad. He knew Merzad. Like he knew it. It was very funny to watch him. I'm like, he knew that place. It was like secondhand. And actually, this is a very funny story. You might want to turn the recording off. Or edit this part, please. We were at
लहसुन कितने का है?
and
40 का है.
Summer stayed with Kira for again. And Aaron,
You want me to pause the recording, or I didn't get that?
at Erwin's house, and like we all knew it. It was like he knew that place and he knew it.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I've seen it before.
no,
Yes, I had.
no, not with us.
Yeah.
Not with your parents. Your parents had never seen that painting.
You know, I'll tell you about.
So I don't know.
It's not that amazing, and there's a perfectly logical explanation for it.
Aaron.
With Kira,
Yes, I know, but
And
you,
I stayed at their house.
yes. Anyway, never mind.
I'm going to go in a little bit, but I'll tell
We
you
have to go. I'm
You have to
tired.
go too.
a
Just,
story about one of the Mandalay named Nervous.
oh,
right.
So Nervous, uh, I think he wanted to be an actor, and Nervous may have been Val Kalchuri in his previous life. I think no, he couldn't have been. Wait, was it Nervous or? Oh shoot. Um, it was one of the early Mandalay. Let's see.
Jai Baba?
Yeah.
Yeah, nervous became Bhau culture. Yesterday only we read in Mehra Meher.
Whoop, I couldn't quite hear. Dinesh, go ahead.
Nervous became Bhau culture. Yesterday only we read in Mehra Meher.
Nervous
Can you hear?
Kalchuri.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dinesh is
yesterday
saying,
only we.
yeah, it's recorded in Mera Meher
Yeah.
that
Yesterday only we had that reading.
Yeah. No, there was
He
another.
died in Quetta. He died in Quetta.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was an early Mandalay member. You read his name, and then he kind of disappeared. And Baba had given him a nickname. Ganesh, can you think of one of the other names?
cycle, something like cycle or something like that it was.
What?
Cycle, I guess.
Yeah,
So
cycle.
I will share the screen here
Yeah.
and tell you about him. Ba, 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 ba.
About Nervous?
Yeah. So his name was Khudadad Farhad Irani. Very Persian face. He died, let's see, he died in July of 1924. When was Bauji born? So from Ramju's diaries, there's a bunch of information about his passing. Anyway, so that you guys can see what he looked like.
Yeah.
Baba said, good, you're working hard. This is also serving me. Cooking for everyone is as good as serving me personally. Then he added, yesterday I saw Nervous talking to you. What did he say? What was he telling you? Mara was dumbfounded. For a moment, she could not remember. Regaining her composure, she replied, nothing, Baba. He was telling me about you and about life in Manzilamim. He said how lucky I am to be near you. Yes, he loves me a lot. He's very dear to me. Baba didn't mind that Nervous was talking to me, Mara explained. Perhaps he was testing me to see what I'd say if I tell him the truth. Perhaps he was showing me that he knows everything. So I don't know what this is about, but it's not what we were talking about.
Yeah. I got to remember.
Oh, there we go. Baut Kalchuri was Nervous.
Yeah.
On the margin here.
There's one other person, and his name is slipping my mind, but it's a very interesting story. But I'm not going to relate it unless I can remember. Looks like a lot of the Mandalay are off to the left there.
Yeah, this is Anthony Zois's page, Meher Baba Travels, and he's got everything about everyone here.
Okay, so there must be somebody. Oh, that name is probably. So scroll it once again the other way, and I want to just see. Asthma. Good. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
Two
Okay.
birds with one stone, man. That's pretty
Okay. I'll
good.
tell the story, and then uh, then um, then I gotta probably
I have a little question that just came
yeah.
up with what you said
Okay.
yesterday. So play after the story, I'll ask.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So there was this one guy named Asthma. Now you read about him in the early years at Meribad, and he went to Manzili Mim, and then he kind of disappears from the scene. And when Bao was writing the Lord de Meher, he would track down some of these people to kind of get their story. Well, he didn't know what happened to Asthma, and so then he found out that Asthma, I don't know his real name, but lived in Bombay, and that I think he had heard that they're very, especially his wife was very orthodox Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrian. So what he did is he wanted to get in and talk with Asma to find out about his life with Baba, so he could fill in this story. And so what he did, what Bao Kachuri did, is that, Bao was, this is 1970 or something. No, yeah, around 1970 was writing Lord Meher. He went to Bombay and he posed as a graduate student who wanted to get information about the life of Zoroaster. So he finds out where they live. There he is, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Well, if this is the Khuda Dad, no, it couldn't have been.
This is Asma.
Was he in Pramashram?
He no, he was at Manzili Mim.
Okay, Manzalimim.
And then he kind of disappears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
there's nothing about him.
So here's the story. So Bao Churi goes and he impersonates a graduate student wanting to know about Zoroaster. So he knocks at the door, and the wife comes, and he says that he heard that they are Zoroastrian, and he would like to get some information about the life of Zoroaster and his teachings. So she says, well, we don't know much about Zoroaster, but he kind of moves in. He gets in there. And so she takes him in, and Asma or Kodadad is in bed. He's not, he's kind of ill. So he goes in, and the three of them are talking. And then the wife says, would you like some refreshments? Or would you like some tea? And Bao says, yes, I'd like some tea and some refreshments. So she goes off and she's out of the picture. He turns to Asma and says, I am one of Baba's Mandali, and I have come to say that I wanted to find out about your life with Baba, but Meher Baba has passed on. And dropped his body. And Asma said, I'm paraphrasing, my whole wish, my prayer was to see him one more time before I passed on. And this is what he told Bao, that he was in Manzili Mim, and at the end of Manzili Mim, they after 9 months, Baba closed the ashram, and each of them came forward for an interview with Baba to what to do next. So they could join Baba and stay with him. They could go off to college, finish their education. In the case of Sarosh, he was engaged to be married. He went off and got married. Well, Asma said that he was engaged to be married to this woman, but he said they're Orthodox Zoroastrians, and They don't want to have anything to do with Baba. So this is what Baba said. He gave him something like 3 orders. Don't read any of my literatures, don't have any pictures of Baba, and don't have any contact with the Baba lovers. And so he went and got married, and so he disappeared all these years. But Asma said, I have always felt him with me. All these years, I've always felt him with me.
Uh-oh.
Jeff is frozen.
Jeff is frozen.
Jeff is frozen. We are just a funny bunch. Jeff, come back. Come back. Wasn't that from the Titanic?
Yeah.
Jack, come back.
I think he will be relogging. I mean,
I hope he does. Maybe his phone juice died. I bet you his phone or iPad or iPhone or whatever ran out of juice. So it might be a while. So what do you have to say for yourself, Marvin?
Me?
Yeah, you.
The dog wants to play.
I'm floor grinding right now. It's,
Earlier, Marcia was talking about Chicago, and I missed some of it. Were you saying, Marcia, that about safety in Chicago or something? You're muted, hon. You're muted, Marcia.
I always felt pretty safe in Chicago. I just didn't go to the south side in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have to know where to go, right?
Yeah, that story Jeff said was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes. Connecting to audio. Well, we missed you.
All right. So I do I have to hit anything? Oh no, you can hear me.
Yeah.
yes,
So,
we can hear you.
I mean, imagine that he remained true to that, and he had Baba's presence all those years without his wife knowing it, without anybody in the Baba world knowing what happened to him. You're talking, from 22 to 19, probably 70.
Just
Wow.
dropped out.
And that would have, if Bao hadn't, posed as this graduate student, we wouldn't have known what happened to Asma. What a beautiful thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, that's holding his cloak around you.
That's Baba's grace.
Yeah.
That's Baba's
Beautiful.
grace.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight. I got to go.
Yeah. See ya, Marcia.
We'll see you. Okay. See you, Bobby.
Hi.
Jai Baba.
Baba.
Well, he wants me to chase him. He's got to go in his
So
mouth.
Ganesh, you had a question.
Yes, yesterday you said one thing. You said that many of the mandali would be coming back and they would be in our midst, maybe incognito or something like that. And that just, I was thinking, and then I felt like, why would the mandali wish to even come back after they have spent like time with Baba and with that intense longing which they had, and all they thought of was Baba? I mean, does it make sense to come back and live a normal life and with with doing all that, going to school, graduating, all that? Like, I mean, after being so close with Baba and having that longing, I mean, why would they even think of returning back?
You feel this is a normal life?
We're not living it. Our studio is insanely clean, and it's like we've been purging and
Yeah, and all the time my focus is on Mayor Baba.
oh, I don't know. I see you watching political crap on
Yeah,
YouTube, and I go,
but
here, wouldn't you rather here have this talk? And I change his
that's
phone.
true.
I do.
One thing they don't like is having to learn the multiplication tables once again. Takes time. No, this is my feeling. I mean, this is what I kind of gathered in being around the Mandali. Most people want to get realized. They want to delay that and spend more time on this side of realization serving Baba in any way they can. I mean, I told you about what Eric said there that, and Charlie Gardner, did I say that last night about Charlie Gardner?
No.
He arrived at Merazad early, and Erich was there on the veranda, and they went in the Mandali Hall, and they were sitting there, and he's very bold, and he said, Erich, is this your last life? Erich, I can't remember what Erich did, but it was a little bit of a dodge. But then the buses arrived, and everybody piled into Mandali Hall, and at one point, Erich looked over at Charlie. He was at a distance in the group, and he said, "I envy you."
Yeah.
And Erich said, and Charlie said, "Hey, you envy me? You got to spend all this time with Baba. You served him. You were right there all the time. How could you ever possibly envy me?" And Baba and Erich said, "When years ago, I came through that threshold, and Baba gave me a glass of wine, of his rare wine, and I am almost finished with that. I have only a few drops left of my glass of wine. But you have just been given that glass of wine. You have that whole, basically, I'm paraphrasing, you have that whole glass of his wine ahead of you. My days are done." He said, and then Erich said, "I would come back 1,000 times just to be, even as a mangy dog, just to be near him again. I would come back again and again just to comb his hair one last time."
So they really loved the humanity of Baba.
Yeah. They were not in a rush to get realization that as much, they wanted to serve Baba as much as they could before the alarm goes off and they're out of here. Because the more this is also, I've heard this, that the amount of suffering that you do here lessens Baba's suffering when he comes again.
And
They
this
know that.
also reminds, like when you say this, like this
Poor
reminds of
Marvin. Poor
what
honey. Oh.
Money at once told. Like somebody, like I guess somebody reminded Money Auntie that she would be a perfect master in a future life. That's what Baba told. And then she said that she doesn't care about that, but all that matters to her is to be she wanted to be as a perfect slave to him.
Yeah. Yeah, and to serve him again and again. I mean, Erich
All
said,
that.
I heard him on a number of occasions say, all I want to do is come back and serve him again and again.
And they want to do it on Earth. Like I would think you can think of, a little nicer places to serve him.
Yeah. Definitely not New Jersey.
Yes, I do, Jeff. I do remember Erich saying that he just wanted to be with him again.
Yeah. And he said, the trouble is when you have those kind of sentiments, that you want to come back again and again and serve him, that means your days are numbered.
Well, my song "Not This Body," I always say it's Bauji's story, but that second verse is really Eric's, longing to see him again and to rise in his love. That was Eric.
Yeah.
Eric said something to me, and that actually finished the song. I
Yeah.
needed the second verse, and it
Yeah.
wasn't finished. And I finished it in India that first trip. But yeah, he would say to he said to me, because Baba was coming to me in dreams, and he said, "You're so fortunate. I don't see him anymore." Because before I came to India, I had lots of Baba dreams, and I don't even remember most of them. Now I think, God, what was I thinking? Not trying to remember, not writing them down. But
Yeah.
he conveyed that he didn't see him anymore, and I think that when we would come, any new person would come, he would say, "How did you come to be here? How did you come to this place?" And I think the only real answer is his grace, is that brought us there.
Yeah.
His Baba brought us there.
And they got to kind of relive that beauty of coming to Baba through our stories. I mean, that was one of their favorite things, to hear how we came.
True.
How Baba kind of pulled us out of this crazy world to Merazad. Hey, but Ganesh, did that kind of answer your question a little bit?
Yes, it did answer.
Yeah. Thank
you for it.
They don't want anything for themselves, anything that would help Baba stay in this creation. Anything that would help Baba is what they are for. Nothing for themselves.
So Japan.
Well, the reason is because they did not exist. They only existed in Baba, for Baba. I mean, they had been already hollowed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess at some point he has mercy and says, "You've had enough.
Yeah.
Your time is up."
I remember back in the 70s, and this gives you another side of the mandali. I said to Eric, I have a feeling that if I were to inhabit your body for a half hour, all I'd want to do is go unconscious and asleep. And he gave me I don't know if anybody else saw, but he gave me such a look of surprise acknowledgement. And what I mean is, I saw that he was bearing so much suffering, even though he appeared casual and he's there and interacting with us. I felt if I were to be in his body, I would just get crushed. The weight that he was bearing for Baba would have crushed me. But that's a weight that they willingly carried for Baba. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think I've told you this before. I mean, one time I was massaging Bao in the back rooms at the trust compound, and I had my clutches on him. I could ask him anything. And I said, I'm going to quote to you a famous Sufi line, and you tell me if you found it to be true for you and the mandali. The line is actually from Mansur Halaj. Suffering is he, happiness is from him. And I said, is that true for you and the mandali? And he said, and this is Bao, he was flat down on the cot, and he said, yes. We were only aware of his suffering, year in and year out, day in and day out, moment to moment. But if someone came to Merazad, they got the happiness from him. Suffering is he, happiness is from him. So there's a whole kind of secret thing. They didn't tell us about the suffering they bore, I think, because it would have been discouraging. Maybe it shouldn't even be told now, but I am.
Well, it's quite apparent in the writings. If you read any of Bauji's ghazals,
Yeah.
he's the one that actually expressed it.
Yeah. Erich kind of kept it quiet, and they all kind of kept it under wraps. Because, if your father goes to the factory and works in slaves to keep the family going, and he's abused at the factory and they take advantage of him, he doesn't come home and tell the kids what he has to endure to put food on the table and provide them with clothes and a place to live. It's not, children shouldn't know what their father and their mother have had to go through. And that's why they didn't tell us, I think. We were too young. We were still children and you don't want to disturb the childhood of kids.
Nor does anyone tell you what a pain it is to be a parent.
Yeah.
They don't come with instruction manuals, and your parents don't tell you what they went through to raise you.
Yeah.
It's a secret. It's a secret conspiracy.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, really, you need to have the illusion as long as you can enjoy it before the reality sets in.
And who told the pregnant woman who's carrying her baby, glowing to perfection, just beautiful, happy? Who tells her about what she's just about to go through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody tells her.
You can't.
True.
And he tells the second-time father.
Oh, guess who's having a baby? Speaking, who's due in November? Mira Goldman.
Wow. Great. Hey,
Goldman's daughter. Mira.
Yeah. Hey, give her my love congratulations if you think of it.
Quarantine. I didn't talk to Aurora, her sister. I was texting with her, and so we're gonna see them, Adam and Aurora. Probably we're gonna get together and have a meal, but we're socially distanced, etc.
Yeah. Give her my love, Aurora. I used to play with Aurora when she was a little girl, and Dia, Adi. She was Adi back.
Dia's living in. She's still in North Carolina.
Yeah, Sanford, I think.
We saw her not too long ago.
Yeah.
She's in there.
And just as a parting note, I know that Sai, you're about to say you're going to leave, but we saw that sadness that really concerned, total compassion on Baba's face at times in the films.
Yeah.
He was really feeling not only his suffering, granted, but what he perceived our suffering yet to be, and I think he was just feeling sad about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And also when you talk about that, he sitting on the pandal, he was doing this. He was just taking all the burdens.
Oh, Michelle's screen has frozen.
Oh.
Actually, it's your screen that froze, Dinku. Michelle is still moving.
She's still.
But,
yeah.
He was just.
Okay.
And Erich would say that they had no idea how he went out there and did that, because once he walked through the door, he was a mess. But when he went with his lovers for Darshan, he was glowing and alive. And
no,
So beautiful. What
Really,
compassion.
really something. It's all much more beautiful than I ever imagined it to be.
So, Jeff, have these Mandali people been with Baba, with the avatar throughout all his previous incarnations as the avatar? And then at every incarnation, more and more people have been added on?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've been with Baba for all of these advents that we're familiar with. Moving, and you get closer and closer. And, like Kitty, Baba said she had been Joseph in the time, Jesus's father, right?
Oh.
That would have been Norina.
Or Narina, that was Narina. Kitty was the wife of the Buddha, I think, Kitty Davies. So, but eventually there's an expiration date. And when the seats are vacated, someone moves up.
Okay.
But, and I mentioned a few chats ago where, someone plays the role of Peter. In this Advent, it was Erich. Someone plays the role of John of the fourth, gospel of Jesus, and that was Balkauchuri. But Baba told Adi that Mara is always the same one.
How
And
about
Mara used to say that she has always been a woman. She's never been a man.
How about this, Jeff, though? Baba says, I think, we've always been one, like he says it so much more eloquently.
Yeah.
That we've never been anything else. We've always been part of him and will always be part of him. And this, illusory thing is just kind of a temporary little story.
Yeah.
But if we've always been part of him, we've been with him forever.
Yeah.
We'll be with him forever. So
Yeah.
like this whole thing is a real farce.
Yeah.
It's a real make believe.
So I think you're right.
We've always been with him, part of him.
That's true.
Indivisible oneness.
Yeah. But from the standpoint of illusion, there's a certain drama that's unfolds and played out.
Yeah.
And it's an illusory drama, but hey, it follows along certain plot lines, you might say.
Yeah. Just to entertain the producer.
Yeah. Well, and I personally think, now this is just my own concoction, I feel like we were in on the original planning of this whole thing. And we made it that no one's going to get realization until they really suffer for the sake of love. We put so many obstacles. We think that Baba just did all this. We were in on it. We made a plan of how do, we made this journey so difficult that you couldn't just cry and get out of here. You had to really learn how to love in the deepest sense and serve and I think even suffer. We made it very difficult. All of us, we were in on it, on this thing, I think.
We set the rules of
But it's probably because that suffering for love is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Because we're, there has to be a benefit.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can go just from bliss to realization. I think
The rose and the thorn.
Yeah.
We set the rules of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I think we were kind of in on it. And we created something that truly glorifies love. We made it, it is the most magnificent experience of all. And, you know, even more important than being the President of the United States.
Harder.
Yeah.
We won't
Yeah.
count that against you, Jeff.
We'd rather you be president.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yuck.
You do a better
Hey,
job.
so,
It's the witching hour.
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Well, let's make sure we got everything. Marge, are you there?
Margie Pan?
Marzipan?
No, he's gone.
I'm here.
Oh my gosh, she's here.
Oh,
Did
good.
we wake you up?
Oh no, I'm just, you're like a lullaby to me.
Yeah, good. We're just breaking up Ganesh is the bouncer. He's running us out of the bar, the tavern.
Tavern's closed.
Nasreen, you there?
Last call.
Nasreen is usually there. Oh, and there's Payam. Good. And Glenn.
Hey, Baba.
Beautiful.
Is this your husband?
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Yep.
All right.
And they have a wonderful kid, Kian.
Yes. Who's in the throes of being a teenager and wanting to be in his room all day.
Uh-oh, there's a ghost in my bathroom.
Everybody.
He's over there.
Wait,
Yeah.
we have one more. Here he is.
Oh, he's adorable.
Oh my God, what a beauty.
He's so
Yeah.
cute.
What kind?
He's a Australian Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Look at
Bob
those
is-
eyes. So lovely.
Oh my God, he's just
Yeah.
pure love.
And
Yeah.
Dinesh,
Jay Bob.
you
Good
still
night.
in? Still on the phone? Or Yasmin?
Baba, we're gonna
Okay,
go.
Baba.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good
See you
night.
guys.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
night.
And love to
Thank
Aaron.
you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
all. Good
Jai
night.
Baba.
See you
Thank you.
guys.
Baba.
Goodbye.
Jai
Au
Baba.
revoir.
Jai
I
Meher
might come on tomorrow. I'll see.
See
Uh,
ya.
Okay,
Tomorrow?
great.
I have to sneak up from the inside the center where
Okay.
I'm supposed to be on duty.
Okay. So
Okay.
tomorrow we are there. Okay. Great.
Okay.
Jai
Much love,
Baba.
Jay Baba.
Do you want visitors or anything? Do you feel lonely there?